A couple of months ago, I released a video talking about new and upcoming survival games to scratch that itch for something different after playing Valheim for a few hundred hours. Looking back at it, it seems like that video did pretty well with it blasting through my record of views on a video, and I had a ton of comments saying I left certain games off the list. So here I am, once again, to tell you about even more survival games that you should be giving a shot to, or at least keeping your eye out for. I'll be covering some new releases, some yet to release games, and a couple old games that I didn't really add to the previous list, and of course including your recommendations in this video. So sit back and I hope you can find your next survival game to check out. Let's start off with the game that's closest to releasing, and that is the game Dino Path Trail. Developed by Void Pointer, Dino Path Trail is what you would get if you mix the survival style games of Valheim and Don't Starve, give it a roguelike twist, and set it in an alternate Wild West where dinosaurs never went extinct. You must set out to brave the environment, evade predators, and confront cunning bandits to save your sister from those who kidnapped her. The game has a bounty system that will tick up and increase the difficulty as many seek to gain the fame and fortune that they would get from defeating you. This game has a system that revolves around timing action presses that can impact your combat skills as well as how many resources you gather. I also wanted to note that this game tells you that a controller is preferable, but I would actually 100% disagree to that, as I found it much easier to play when I switched to the mouse and keyboard. But there is a demo available, so there's really no reason why you shouldn't give this game a shot before it releases on May 9th. Going from the soonest to release to the most recent release, we have RuneScape Dragonwilds. I had no idea this was coming out until the day or two before it actually did, and I immediately picked it up thanks to my nostalgia of putting hundreds of hours into RuneScape as a kid. I was never really a WoW fan, but man, I ate up RuneScape like there was nothing else in the world. I got to play a bit of this game, and there's just so much I want to talk about that I may actually end up making a standalone video just on my impressions of it. But the gist is that you are in a new part of the world that has been assaulted by dragons, and you must take down each dragon in order to face off against the Dragon Queen. Due to this currently being in early access, there is only really one main dragon to face off against, but that doesn't mean that there isn't plenty to do. I'll admit that there were a few minor annoyances in the game, one being the fact that the player character has a vertical jump of like 4 inches and can't grab ledges, but I've actually really enjoyed what I've played a ton. The crafting is both parts simple and intricate, with a similar system to Valheim requiring proper support so you don't end up with floating houses. And the leveling up system is simple and rewarding, and it gives you new skills like combat abilities or magic that you can use to do any number of things like chop down multiple trees at once, automatically take those trees and turn them into logs, or even turn trees into bones, and then maybe later turn those bones into peaches. It's just absurd and I love it. It seems like this game's really trying to copy more of Enshrouded than it is Valheim, which I really don't mind, but it does a good job of keeping it in the RuneScape world by having the skill page look oddly familiar, alongside having the need to have specific runes to cast spells. I know there's a long road ahead for the game before it will be finished, but I definitely think this is going to be one of the best games in the genre before too long, so check it out if it interests you. Now let's take a look at the next game brought to you by the commenter Lone Wolfie53, who said they were expecting the game Once Human to make the previous list. This free live service game is set in a post-apocalyptic future where you must team up with your friends to fight monstrous enemies, uncover secret plots, compete for resources, and build and manage your own territory. I saw this game release and it grew pretty rapidly, however I never really gave it a shot, which is kind of ridiculous given that it is free to play. And here I am, almost a year from its release, still without having played it, but honestly it's been moved up a bit higher onto my need to play list. It takes aspects of a variety of games like looter shooters and survival games and kind of meshes them together in this weird yet seemingly cohesive package. Now it is sitting at a 73% rating on Steam, with some of the negative comments citing bug issues and the inclusion of microtransactions, but I mean, it's very much a work in progress, so it is what it is. There's a really neat in-depth video recently done by SkillUp that I'll post a link to if you want to see more about this, but again, with it being free, there's really not a reason to not give it a shot. Next, let's take a look at the upcoming game Romestead. Firstly, I just gotta say that name is genius, and I have no idea how no one ever came up with it before. In this game, Rome has fallen and it is up to you and your friends to re-establish the glory of Rome, all while facing off against wildlife, what seems to be an army of the undead, and even larger threats. The developers will be starting a playtest of the game soon, and there's a ton to be intrigued about, like the fact that the co-op allows for up to 8 players in the same game, which is just insane because who even knows that many people? In reality, I think this game has a ton of potential, and the strange world where you're going to be thrust into will definitely keep things fresh, so keep your eye out for this when it's released. Did you ever watch the movie 300 and think, yeah, I could do that? Well then maybe you should be checking out The Last King. In this upcoming early access title, you play as the Last King, in defense against a Persian invasion. You can do the normal survival stuff like gathering resources and building bases, but this game comes with an army management system that allows you to equip your army as you see fit and get them trained so that way they can be better prepared for the upcoming battles against your enemies. I think the game has a little bit of jankiness to it, but that kind of adds to the charm. And there's really no need to wait until it launches into early access to see if this is for you, as there's a demo and a prologue available to try right now, so give it a shot if it's something that interests you. If you enjoy the Greek aesthetic but really want more of that mythological side of things, then maybe you should be checking out Dawn of Defiance. In this game, you can team up with 3 of your friends in a journey where you must face the trial of the gods. The building style shown in the trailer is something that I think is really worth bringing up because it looks like you can basically build whole towns as opposed to like a small camp like with most of these games. The mythological aspect of the game also makes it stand out as you will encounter several familiar enemies. The game came out into early access in August of 2024, and it looks like the devs have a lot planned for the future, including a soon-to-be-released large update adding a new content revolving around Gorgons. At $20 USD, it's a steal for a game that's just starting to get its feet beneath it, so check it out if you want to play what amounts to God of War Enshrouded. I should give a shout out to the commenter, AaronOxDI, for that previous entry, as well as this next one, which is the game ASKA. While I was relatively unaware of Dawn of Defiance, I knew about ASKA and I had played it for about an hour or so with a friend of mine. We played a couple days after it officially released, and I think there was some connectivity problems, so we kinda had to put it down. Taking on a Viking aesthetic, this game sees you laying claim in an unspoiled land and managing to build a colony to forge a path for your tribe. I had mentioned in the previous entry the interesting aspect of building a town, but it looks like in ASKA it is necessary so that NPCs can gather resources while you risk your life facing against a variety of foes. ASKA allows for up to 3 friends to join you in your adventures, and the devs are very active in presenting bug fixes and updates, with about 5 or 6 being done in the last month alone. So while it still may be a work in progress, it's definitely worth giving a try if you're looking for your next great Viking adventure. So in all my list videos, I try to include one game voted on by my Discord server, and with the previous iteration of the survival genre, the Planet Crafter won easily. Please play this game if you haven't. But for this video, I was going to highlight a game that is being played weekly by us, and that is the game Grounded. If you haven't heard of this game, firstly, I don't really know where you've been for the past 5 years, but it's a game where you play as a group of 4 kids who have been shrunk and now must navigate the treacherous world of the backyard of a home. I will say that our group all kind of agree that the medium difficulty is a little bit on the grindy side of things, but there's still a lot to love about the game. Whether that be the unique twist on the established genre, the inclusions of mutations that can impact your abilities to do various things, or the very often spider jump scare. One thing I do want to mention about picking up this game is that it does go on sale for about $20 USD pretty often, so it wouldn't break the bank and there's a lot of fun to be had. But I do think the game really requires all your friends to be there in order to realize its full potential. If you're looking to take a more realistic approach to survival, then maybe you should be checking out the next game, The Last Plague, Blight. As the title suggests, the world has been stricken by a plague, impacting the world, leaving you to try to uncover the origins of the disease in your attempt to take back what has been lost. Progression in this game is relatively slow, so you shouldn't go into this thinking you're going to build a large settlement. However, it does support co-op, which will ease the burden that will come from setting traps or hunting in order to find food to survive. The big trade-off is that while the game is a little slow, the rate at which you lose water and food is proportionate, so you won't always have to be worrying about having to drink every minute in order to stay alive. The Last Plague, Blight, is very much a work in progress. However, the devs are working diligently to add more features like a weather system, animal husbandry, and even a glass-blowing mechanic to the game. It's an overall interesting experience, and it may not be for everyone, but if it is something that's right up your alley, you should be giving it a shot. Now, let's be honest, who doesn't fantasize about sailing the high seas and being part of a pirate crew? Well, in the upcoming survival game Crosswind, you can either take up this journey solo or with your friends as you navigate the procedural open world, gathering resources to build your settlement and crafting various new gear and weapons. As you sail around the world, you can fight in the open waters or on land in a PvE or PvP mode. Honestly, I think this style of survival game has been desperately missing, and because Ubisoft isn't making it, you know it actually has a chance to be good. It's also claiming to utilize kind of a Souls-like combat system, which is kind of worth pointing out, and by looking at the trailer, there is plenty of non-natural wildlife you will come across. The only downside for this is that there really isn't an official release date or window, so it'll kind of have to wait, but make sure to keep your eye out for it for when it does eventually release. Up next, we've got what you would likely get if you mixed Valheim and Diablo, and that is the upcoming game Beyond the Map. There aren't a lot of top-down survival games out there, but this one comes complete with dungeon diving, large boss encounters, and what looks like to be a variety of tools progressions with spells and attack abilities at your disposal. There really isn't a lot to say about the game aside from the comparison of mixing parts of Valheim and Diablo together, but there is a demo available for those who are interested. But with no release date set, it may be later in the year before we get to see it come to early access. So check out the demo so that way you can see if this is something you should be keeping your eye out for. I try to keep the games on this list limited on the release date, but sometimes there's a game that's just passed up for a variety of reasons, but it still offers a fun and unique time. That is the case with the game Penkura. Releasing into early access back in 2018, Penkura is basically a passion project ran by a two-man team, and because of this, update progress may be a bit slower than most games. However, it sits with a pretty solid Steam rating at 89%. The game sees you establishing a new colony on a distant alien world. Utilizing robotics to assist in creating cutting-edge equipment, you set out to unravel the mysteries of a civilization lost in time. It's not really a super expensive game, and I do recognize that there really is some jank to the game. However, if you go into the experience wanting to have a good time, then this will likely surprise you. I've mentioned the must-play game, The Planet Crafter, several times, but what if you took that sort of aesthetic and mixed it with a game like Satisfactory? The end result will likely be the next game on this list, and that is Eden Crafters. This early access title sees you trying to turn a hostile planet into a habitable haven for humanity. Utilizing various production methods, you look to temper the climate, create a breathable atmosphere, and turn the toxic lakes into usable water. As much as I played the Planet Crafter, Eden Crafter looks to do a lot of the same terraforming process in front of the player, which is one of the biggest selling points to the Planet Crafter. Eden Crafter even allows you to roam around in a ship, and just like with Satisfactory, before too long, you'll have an amalgamation of assembly lines turning every which way in order to maximize your output. So head on over and give this game a shot if you want to bring some sci-fi automation fun into your life. Hey, I've got a secret for you. The History Channel was right all along. Aliens did in fact come to Earth forever ago and greatly impact the future of humanity. Well, at least that's the case in the upcoming early access game Astrobotanica, where you control an alien biologist who's been sent to Earth 300,000 years ago. Utilizing your expertise in botany to survive, you grow plants, harvest crops, compose and brew tonics, all in the pursuit of knowledge as you reveal hidden powers of unknown plants. You also get to interact with primal humans and leave your mark on the future of civilization. The trailers don't showcase much in the way of combat, so this may be for the audience who is looking for a more casual approach to survival, although that doesn't mean there won't be unfriendly inhabitants. You just might have to outsmart them rather than bash them over and over. Keep your eyes on this if you're looking to potentially alter the future of humanity. The next game on this list may not be your stereotypical survival game, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't be paying attention for its release. The Last Caretaker takes place as humanity is struggling to survive, and you play as a robot looking to sail across a vast ocean and craft, explore, and battle rogue machines as you progress, all in the name of giving humanity a rebirth. The graphics look pretty amazing, and I'm pretty sure there's gonna be a lesson about humanity's ability to abuse the tools that they created for profit, but the trailers have shown more than enough to keep me eagerly awaiting the early access release. It is definitely worth keeping on your radar, but it may be a while before we can get to it, given that it was only announced a couple months ago. Either way, I do think it has a lot of potential to be an experience that is hard to pass on. So most games in the survival genre have you pitted up against a hostile environment, but these next few games show that there doesn't always have to be an enemy to fight in order to make the game interesting. The upcoming game Outbound sees you building your own home on wheels in an attempt to live sustainably off-grid. The trailer showcases no combat, but instead focuses on crafting to source energy in a manner that will be able to grow crops, upgrade and customize your vehicle, and to explore the colorful world with up to 3 of your friends. I think this sort of survival game is really untapped and has a ton of potential to scratch that itch for people who like those cozy games. And it's currently sitting in alpha stages, so it could be a wait before the game releases, but make sure to add it to your wishlist to keep up with all there is to know about when it does come out. Ever wonder what it was like to play as a squirrel and have a bunch of random tasks to complete for other critters of the world? Who am I kidding? Of course you do. You should definitely be checking out Squirreled Away. This game is super adorable, and it's just enjoyable skittering up trees and hoarding everything you can in order to make your dream treehouse. And you can even buddy up with up to 3 other friends and let the shenanigans reign supreme. Squirreled Away kind of came out of nowhere, and besides a relatively large hiccup that the devs fixed really quickly, the game has become one of the more enjoyable cozy games to play, and you sort of end up forgetting that this is technically a survival game. It sort of gives you similar vibes to Untitled Goose Game, but sometimes not as unhinged, and sometimes you're just literally being shot out of a cannon. For 15 USD, there's really not a reason why you shouldn't be giving this game a shot, so grab your friends, but even if you do choose to play it solo, you will be having a blast. The last game to make it to this list is the upcoming game Solarpunk. Set in a technologically advanced world of floating islands, Solarpunk sees you doing the normal gathering of resources, crafting gadgets, and growing food, but with the goal being to just explore the distant islands in the sky. It seems like it's going to be another game to just take that cozy vibe and run with it because there really doesn't seem to be any sort of combat, just a beautiful world for you to explore how you wish, all while being accompanied by a beautiful soundtrack. There is a demo out for you to try if you want to see if this is your thing, but aside from that, it looks to release sometime this year, so check it out if it looks like it's something you would enjoy. But that was it for this list of even more survival games to sink plenty of hours into. If you think I missed some, then make sure to check out that first video I made, and if you enjoyed the video, leave a like and comment, and even consider subbing to the channel so you can help this channel grow. But with that, that'll be it for this video. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and as always, be kind to one another. Shoutouts go to Relativity, Naughty Dog is King, Chaos, and Kamikalo alongside all those sub to the channel. If you have a genre you want me to cover, then leave it in the comments below and join the Discord to vote on what makes it to the list. But either way, I will see you soon.